Why are Chabad Chassidim so careful about Cholov Yisroel?
I want to tell you a story. There's a younger man I know. He's a little younger than I am. He lives in Muncie. He's from a Rabbanisha family. He's a brilliant guy. And he became a Lubavitcher. So I was asking him about it. What compelled him to become a Lubavitcher? So he told me a story that he was sitting on a train in England. They were going from one place to another. And they served tea. And the Bachim took milk. And this bothered him very much. So I said to him, how terrible is that? It's not treif. He got really, really, really upset at me. And he shouted at me, Cholavakum is treif. As long as I live, I'll never forget how he screamed, Cholavakum is treif. He was so upset. And he was upset that I was so cavalier about it. And I heard this from a person who doesn't come from a Chabad background, but he comes from a Yiddish Maim home. There were all kinds of discussions about the Heterim, about Cholov Akum and Cholov Stam and so forth and so on. But the issue is, the real issue is that when the Chachamim made an Isser on something, you know what I'll tell you, Maise, as Agdome. The Tzemach Tzedek was not the Rav in Lubavitch. Lubavitch had a Rav. The Shtetl of Lubavitch had a Rav. Now the Rav in Lubavitch was not the Tzemach Tzedek. In other words, he, of course, deferred to the Tzemach Tzedek on any question, but the Tzemach Tzedek didn't paskin shailas. Tzemach Tzedek allowed him to paskin the local shailas. One day a woman is walking through the Chotzer of Tzemach Tzedek. In Lubavitch, the area where the Rebbe lived was called the Chotzer, the Hoif, the Chotzer. She was walking through the Chotzer with a chicken. So Tzemach Tzedek summoned her. So she came in and he asked her, where are you coming from? I'm coming from the Rav. Why did you go to the Rav? I had a shayla on the chicken. Can I see the chicken? Yeah. So she shows him the chicken. What did the Rav say? The Rav said that the chicken is treif. So there's two different stories that happened on two different occasions. And I'll tell you both of them, even though the second one is the one I want to tell. The first story, the Tzemach Tzedek called the Rav, and he started arguing with him. The Rav had paskined either kosher or treif, and Tzemach Tzedek was giving him the counter argument, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Eventually, the Rav finally says, "I'm the Rav in Lubavitch, and I paskin kosher or treif," and he wouldn't continue the debate anymore. And he left. After he walked out, the Tzemach Tzedek opened up a sefer of an Achrin, which was not very famous, and he showed his children inside the psak exactly like that Rav, exactly like he paskin, after the Tzemach Tzedek had been arguing with him about it. And the Tzemach Tzedek said to his children, Domei says that Givan Mivust, he doesn't know about this psak. But when Rav Paskins a shayla, he has to yata deshmaya. That's the first story. This is only a hagdama. The second story is that the Rav came, and the Tzemach Tzedek, he said treif, and Tzemach Tzedek said kosher. They argued. And the Tzemach Tzedek showed the Rav that he had paskined incorrectly, and that the chicken was kosher. So the Rav said to the Tzemach Tzedek, I'll take back my psak and I'll say kosher. Tzemach Tzedek said, these are the words, a kosher off mit a treif stempel. The bird is kosher, but it's been sealed treif. A Rav has a keich ha-teire. A Rav has given the authority of teire. And when the Rav says treif, even if he's made a mistake, the spiritual ills of treif are on that chicken. And the Tzemach Tzedek said, no, the chicken is technically kosher, a kosher off mit a treif stempel, but it's been sealed treif, you can't make it kosher anymore. This is not a halachic idea, this is a spiritual idea. And parenthetically, there's a little story with the Rabbi Yankel Landa that he writes, that when he was living in the Rebbe Rashab's house, and he was the Rav in the house, and the Rebbetzin had a shayla on a chicken. It had discoloration on the bone, with a shayla if the chicken's bone had broken before the shechita, in which case it's treif, or after the shechita, in which case it's kosher, and you have to tell from the color, the discoloration. She was looking for Rabbi Yankel Landau, she couldn't find him. So she went into her husband, and Rabbi Yankel Landau was there. So she walked over to her husband with the chicken and said, is it kosher or treif? So the Rebbe Rashab said, the Erev Dach Derav, Yankov Lander was the Rav, and Rabbi Yankov Lander was not comfortable at all paskening a shaila in the presence of the Rebbe. So he stood there, and the Rebbe says, no, you have to do your job, you're to your job. So after some hesitation, he finally muttered, Mekenes Essen, you're allowed to eat it. So the Rebbe Rashab said, Zog, speak. He wanted him to say kosher. Because when Rav says kosher, he brings a keach. And when Rav says not kosher, he also brings a keach. When the Chachamim said that a Yid should not drink milk, that a Yid did not watch the milking, that koyach made any milk that's not been prepared this way have an even hepech hatahara attached to it. And we don't play around with this. The Rebbe, if you've ever seen in the Shari Alachu Minig, all these different svarim, when the Rebbe talks about Cholov Akum, he references one story, which is in the Maimorim Yiddish, from the Friedrich Rebbe, from the previous Rebbe, who discusses the fact that somebody ate Cholov Akum, that kosher and milk, and it affected his ability to learn Torah, because it brought onto him a tumah. In other words, there's a halacha, and the halacha is a milsa b'taima. The halacha is based on a reason. But there's also the koyach HaTorah attached to the halacha. And the Rabbeim felt, and they feel, that once it was established that a Jew should drink only Cholov Yisroel, anything less than Cholov Yisroel is missing that kedusha. And therefore there is something very, very serious that's spiritual. That even if technically, even if chemically, the milk is 100% kosher to milk, there's something spiritually not correct about milk, which is not Cholov Yisroel. And therefore we're very particular about Cholov Yisroel. And today, many people are particular about Cholov Yisroel.